Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we're going to be jumping down into the charts to take another look at Vechain to see what's been going on with the price action of VET. As I get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with all the videos that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, links in the description down below. Fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. It's completely free, so why not check it out? Right, with all that said, done out of the way, let's jump on down into Vechain here and take a look at what's been going on with the price action and what I think is actually going to happen next. So we're going to just start things off, guys, with the weekly chart, just to talk about the overall and overarching structure, and then we're going to jump down into the smaller time frames of what happened yesterday and what I think is going to happen next. So on the weekly chart, paired up with USDT, we're using Binance as the data source, and here you can see a pretty good move coming out of this ABC correction. Right now, unlike many other altcoins, Vechain doesn't follow an impulsive structure. Okay, so essentially this wave B didn't come down low enough to allow us to trigger this C wave as an impulsive move. And you can demonstrate this by literally just throwing a Fibonacci retracement tool and to here, right? And essentially, you know, we moved up past the 1.236, but failed to go to the 1.618, okay? So essentially it's just classified as an ABC, corrective move up. Even though it had the impulsive moves inside it, essentially it was just the lack of the pullback, I guess, happening here in wave B. Now the overarching trend is following Bitcoin, and as a result of that, essentially what we've got is the same structural movements occurring here, with the exception of this ABC pulling back down. Bitcoin's actually looking more like a running flat with an all-time high up here in this B wave, and then pulling back down, whereas Vechain here is just a standard kind of ABC, right? So we have ABC up, ABC corrective down. Now the ABC moves are supposed to be just short-term moves. Obviously this was tracking a more impulsive move up, but failed to hit the impulsive structure on the weekly chart. Okay, so we just note it as an ABC and an ABC down. Now what we've got going on here is an impulsive structure on our daily chart that I think will eventually account to becoming a wave 1 with a wave 2, 3, 4, and 5, and so forth. Okay, so again, that's kind of what we're looking for. It's too soon to really class it as that, and we have to be mindful over everything else that's going on. Now, the stochastic RSI, our momentum indicator, is indicating that there's a little bit more room to go up here on our weekly chart before we start to see some kind of correction. And the correction, I believe, would be quite a deep one, at least 50% of the move. From this low point to wherever this high point ends up, right? We should be thinking 50% of that as a minimum. That would also line very nicely with the minimum requirements, or the minimum guidance, I should say, for a wave 2 correction. Wave 2s are normally much deeper. Sometimes, as you can see, and as we spoke about with 𝗲, essentially what we've got is shallow wave 2s and deep wave 4s. Sometimes they actually alternate each other, where one is shallow, the other is deep, okay? Or one is, I don't know how they call it, but essentially like, yeah, long and thin, where the other one is sharp. And, you know, so slow and gradual versus sharp and fast, right? So we want to kind of get that idea across. And so yeah, for this weekly chart, we're looking pretty good. There's more room to go up before we have that correction mined. So let's jump on down into our daily chart, right? And yesterday we actually hit what I've been talking about for the last few days, in the sense of actually hitting the level of 1.618 of the 0.08193 impulsive trigger on the daily chart. So okay, we have here wave 1, wave 2, this high point that we've had hit so far, wave 3. We'll fall down into a fourth wave correction. This fourth wave correction will basically essentially correct our daily chart here, and then we'll have that fifth wave surge up. All of this will happen before we have that weekly correction. So when I said the weekly stochastic has room to grow up, and this is exactly what I mean. We're going to first of all pull down on our daily chart to some kind of correction that might be about 30% or so, and then we push on up into that fifth wave high. And at that point, once that fifth wave is completed, is when we start to actually see the weekly chart decrease and basically have that 50% drop. Okay, so there's two corrections, and it's important that we don't get confused over what is going on here. Essentially, we have a daily correction and we have a weekly correction. Okay, but we aren't there just yet. But I do want to kind of let you guys know that we're approaching this fourth wave correction, and as it comes in, there's going to be opportunities for accumulating before we have that fifth wave upwards. Okay, and all of this is just wave one on our weekly chart, and then there'll be some kind of second wave correction that will take us down at least 50% in my opinion. Okay, correcting not only the daily, the 8 hourly, the 4 hourly, the hourly chart, but also that weekly chart, stochastic RSI, wiping the momentum out. Okay, now that correction for things like Bitcoin, I think will be smaller than what we see for the altcoins. The altcoins will beat harder. So that's why I say, expect 50%, maybe even up to 80%. Okay, those are standard wave 2 correction moves you would expect of this particular move. Okay, so watch out for that, because all of this would essentially be wave 1, and you're looking to lose 80%, potentially up to 80% of that move. Okay, so that's our daily chart, but obviously it's a little bit messy here. You can't see the exact target. So in order to do that, we're going to jump down into our hourly view, right? Because this is where we've got a lot of the analysis. Now, essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to just remove some of these fibs off of here, because essentially I was actually thinking that this was going to come down yesterday a little bit lower. And, actually we haven't had that. That structure hasn't played out. So there's some kind of ABC move inside this pullback here on a smaller time frame. But we can see that we're moving up. We hit this high point coming up towards 8.937. A little bit shorter on our 9-cent 1.618, but essentially we've moved past the 8.5. We've hit the 1.382. Both of these actually on the nose. We had the pullback, and now we're starting this move upwards. And if we start to think about this inside here, I think we're on some kind of ABC before we have another 5 waves up, and then another 5 waves up from there. So what we need to do is we need to figure out, where are we going to land with this next set of moves for Vechain. Now, the stochastic RSI on our hourly is oversold, so we are expecting some kind of move upwards. The 4 hourly still has room to grow, so there's still room to move up there. The 8 hourly has room, so there's definitely in the early stages here of this fifth wave, by the looks of it, of the third wave. So we might be moving up more just yet. So we wanted to kind of make sense of this move. Obviously, we were expecting this move anyway after this flat correction. So let me just kind of get my head around where we are right now. So we've got a good move up. We have a pullback in the middle. We surge up there. That just looks like pretty much like a standard kind of ABC move. But there must be some kind of noticeable. This must be a fourth with a fifth wave coming up here. To some kind of degree. So there's definitely some kind of shorter play move somewhere in the middle here as we get this. This seems to be a fifth wave high. There seems to be some kind of corrective play right there in the middle. So if we grab hold of that and mark that first, we have some kind of short ABC just here. This then triggers us up into a move of 5 waves here, which is really short. This should be then an ABC, and then we end up with an additional 5 waves. So there's definitely a sub-wave count going on in here a little bit. What doesn't make a lot of sense on this time frame is this move. So let me just jump into the 30-minute chart here and see if there's some kind of significance. So we definitely have this play. So that seems to be a final move there. But it just tracks like an ABC, to be fair, at that point. So yeah, I'm inclined to say that we're not following good into sub-wave counts at this point for VET. But let me just see if there's anything lower that might make a little bit more sense here. So if we were to grab this point, for example, and we were to transpose that to here, we do get that impulsive trigger at that point. So we could say that that's the wave count right there. A little bit hard to actually witness it and to kind of see it, but I think that would make a little bit of more sense. You can see there's a clear wave 1 through 5 there. This is overlap, so that's an interesting play. So let's bring this up into our hourly now. So there are 5 waves here, taking us to that high point. We have the corrective move there. Then we have some kind of move coming here. Now this, I think, is potentially going to get the next move. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. A little bit of overlap in there. So we've got to go 1, 2, 3 here with a 4th and a 5th. So I think there's a real micro movement here. I'm not going to kind of count that as one entirety. I think essentially what you've got is wave 1, this being wave 2, and a wave 3, 4, and 5 still to come. This being effectively the wave 3 of the 5th wave of the 3rd wave. Not that I want to confuse anyone, because that gets really confusing, but you do have to kind of keep track of where all these are sitting as we kind of map that out. Okay, so that would take us to, if this was to be the case, then this would take us to about 9.8. Then we'd have a correction, then we'd have another 5th wave move. And then if that would be the case, we would then expect to see an additional move down here as well, which would be ABC followed by an additional 1 through 5, like so. So yeah, we'll be watching this quite closely. I think there's an opportunity here for VET to continue this motion, but again, we're in a high risk territory once we're in this 5th wave. Moving up higher. So again, we want to take this with a pinch of salt, but this could take us out towards the 2.618 total level. That would be pretty plausible. So we'll just have to monitor that. So yeah, for this next move, maybe we'll be heading out towards 9.8, but really want to be paying close attention to the stochastic RSI. If it doesn't move, if it moves too fast, without doing too much price movement, then essentially, yeah, we're not going to get this. Instead, we're going to get a downward move instead. So we'll have to watch that quite closely. As I said, we're in high risk territory now, trying to trade a 5th wave upwards, which is typically the 5th wave is just like retail FOMO. So they could become a little bit more unpredictable in the sense of what goes on. Sometimes they're shorter, sometimes they're absolutely crazy long. So we have to kind of be really cautious with these ones. Okay, so just keep that in the back of your minds as Vechain continues this motion upwards. Once this 5th wave is done, though, once all the stochastic timelines, stochastic RSI timelines actually align to say that they're all overbought, they should be expecting some kind of retracement. The retracement will be significant, about 30 or so percent in my opinion, before we get a final 5th wave going further forward. So quite a lot going on here with Vechain. So one to watch out for sure. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.